Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mental Architecture, Building the Mind One Moment at a Time. My name is Howard Blumenfeld, and I'm the author of the book by the same name. This book is available for purchase on Amazon in both the Kindle form and the regular paperback version. So today I'm going to wrap up the fifth chapter of my book, or the discussion about the fifth chapter, by talking about the very last section, which is Embrace Your Individuality. And I would like to open up for you guys with a quote. It's actually one of my own quotes, but it's one of my favorite ones from the entire book, actually. And it talks about the power of being your own person, of being an individual. And this is what it says. Everyone, including you, is a masterpiece of genetic and environmental variability. To not honor that at the expense of conforming to some social standard or group is to strip yourself of your uniqueness. So one of the things that I truly believe in is that every person is a unique person, that no two people are alike. You're just as unique as anybody else. I'm unique. And what makes it so that two people are not exactly the same is a combination of a lot of things. So even if you came into the world as an identical twin, that means your genes and DNA is identical from you and your twin, as an identical twin, you're still going to be two different people. And I'll tell you why. It's not about genetics. It's about environment. It's about circumstances. It's about two people who are going to necessarily go through the world in two different ways. And this is why two people will never be exactly the same, because two twins take up two different physical spaces. They take up two different experiences. One twin automatically influences the other. And so it's actually impossible for them to be the same. And they will develop in two different ways because of that. I think that one of the biggest challenges, honestly, is trying to balance out your individuality with the idea of trying to conform to a group, because nobody wants to feel totally isolated and feel like they don't fit in. I mean, I think we spend our lives trying to fit in some way or another. Humans are naturally social species or social animals. And we have to be around other people. We need to feel welcome and we need to feel like we're part of the group. And the problem with too much individuality is that you kind of strip away that conformity. So I think that people have to balance out conforming to groups with being their own person. But I don't think it has to be a black and white issue. I think that people can be part of a greater group and still be themselves. When you're in a group, what you share hopefully is the group dynamic. So it might be that there's 10 of you in a group and you all believe in environmental stewardship. But that doesn't mean that all 10 of you are going to be doing the exact same thing and, in promoting that group. Someone might be good at marketing the group. Another person might be good at getting other people to join. Another person might take on a leadership role. You might have your worker bees and so on. So everybody contributes their own elements and their own talents to the group. And the group ultimately is a collection of individuals. And it is important in that group setting to honor each person and the contributions that they bring to that group. So I really want to come back to my quote, which is that everybody, including you, is a masterpiece of genetic and environmental variability. So what do I mean by that? So genetically, you are at the beginning of your life essentially a fused sperm and egg or a single cell. And then as time goes on, you undergo mitosis and the cells split and divide and you go from one cell to two cells to four cells to eight cells and so on. And as time goes on, you develop into eventually a baby and the baby's born. And as more time goes on, you become a toddler and then a small child and teenager, and you go through the stages of your life. And as you go through the stages of your life, certain genes are going to activate, certain genes are going to go dormant. And that's what I mean partially about genetic variability. You're also the sum of your mom and your dad and all your ancestors. So that's a little bit more of the genetic variability. And that's part of what makes you who you are. But then I feel like even a larger factor throughout your life that changes you as a person is your environmental variability. So the way that the environment and other people influence you and influence your development. So as you move through life, you're going to face unique challenges and situations that are going to change you as a person. And some of these are really subtle and some of them aren't. One thing I don't believe in is that people can't change. I believe that people do change. They change all the time. And it's really a misnomer to look at somebody and say, they're not going to change. There's nothing that can change them. Well, it's true that people do get set in their ways, especially as they get older. It doesn't mean that people can't change the way they are or what they want to do. And just think about yourself as an example. If you really want to change, you know that it's hard. You know it's difficult. Like, for instance, if you want to get into a workout plan and a workout routine or change your diet, these are things that are not easy to do. So we have to keep that in mind with other people, that the changes that they want to make are not necessarily going to be simple things. So I think being patient and non-judgmental with other people is really helpful in achieving those goals. I know that for myself, there's certain things that I can change and there's certain things that I can't. So certain health conditions or physical challenges you may not be able to change because we don't have the technology or treatments available, maybe in some cases. I can't change certain aspects of my physical appearance. Some of them I can, some of them I can't. And that's fine. We develop physically to look a certain way as part of our genetic variability, as part of how we were born and what our ancestors, what kind of, for instance, the color of my skin or the color of your skin has to do with the kind of conditions that your ancestors were in. And was it very hot and sunny? Was it very cold and cloudy? And I feel like these kinds of things are things that we can't change about ourselves. And then there's other things that we can, which, hey, if you want to change your hair color, you can go get you can get your hair dyed, right? But you can't change the natural colors that your hair is growing out. Those are superficial things. But if we get into deeper things, like changing your thoughts, and I feel like one thing that's difficult to do is change other people's thoughts. And I think the reason for that is when you try to change somebody else's thoughts, a lot of times it's all about your approach. If they feel like you're attacking them, if they feel like you're criticizing them in some kind of way, they're going to shut down. But just keep in mind that your mere presence around another person changes them. And it changes them in that moment. It changes them the moment you're there. As soon as you're there, that person becomes a different person because they are being influenced by your words, your actions, the things you say, the way you're moving. All of those become stimuli that go into their brain and they have to process all that, and it changes them right there. So don't ever think that you don't have influence on other people. You have a lot more influence than you might think, and they have influence over you too. We change every moment. And so there really is no normal, because if there were, then there would be some kind of standard that you could point to about a person and say, this is what everybody should be like. This is what you should be like. This is what I should be like. And that is just false, because we change from moment to moment. We change all the time. Just even in this video, as you're absorbing this information, whether you agree or you don't agree, these thoughts are going into your mind and they are being processed by your brain. In many ways unconsciously, in some ways consciously, and that's changing you as a person. We change from the moment that we're conceived to the moment that we die. And in fact, even after we die, when our bodies decompose, that's change. That's the one thing you can always count on in this life, is that things change, people change. And that change is very beautiful. It's who we are. Ultimately, you are such a product of your environment. Even now, I want you to do a little thought experiment. Imagine that instead of being born where you were born, that you were born in a different country, a country that you've never even been to. For instance, I was born in Los Angeles County in Southern California. I think it's kind of fun to think, well, what if I was born in, I don't know, Egypt, somewhere in Egypt? I've never been to Egypt, but let's say I was born there. How would I have the same parents, same set of parents, right? They just decided instead of moving to California from New Jersey, they were going to move to Egypt. And I still was going to be born looking the same. My appearance was the same, but now I would interact with a whole new culture, a whole new set of people, new customs. And I guarantee you, I would not be the same person. It would be impossible for me to be the same person. Or what if I was born in like Bombay, India? Never been there. Again, completely would change me. Now think about that for you. Think about even places you've been to, places you visited. What if you were born there? What if you just went to a different school? We are so pliable as people. If there's anything that I've learned, but it's still difficult for me to do, it's please do not strive to be normal. There's no such thing. I know this, like when I have my own TikTok channel, and when I'm on TikTok browsing through the different videos, I think to myself, man, I wish I were more exciting. I wish I were funnier. I wish I could dance better. I think social media causes you to have a lot of these kind of doubts. And it's not just social media, magazines, TV. They project a certain image of what we should be like, what we should strive to be. But man, I'll tell you, the media and even social media, it's the biggest liars. They're the biggest liars of all. They're telling you this is the way we should be, but it ain't true. We need to be more happy all the time. We need to be more positive. No, you need to be angry sometimes. You need to be lonely sometimes. You need to be sad because you can't enjoy those moments of happiness without those moments of sadness. You can't enjoy the company of others without feeling lonely. You can't experience a wonderful, good, surprising moment without having a couple bad dates. It's important for things to balance themselves out. In fact, that might be the only normal thing there is the variety that there is in life for everybody. Everyone has bad days. Everyone struggles, and everybody has some good days too. And you know, if you're going through some rough times, I guarantee you there's going to be something good around the corner, because life averages itself out. Nobody is going to suffer 100% of the time, all the time. Your brain just won't let you. It will find things to focus on that are positive, but you can't over-focus it on the positive. You can't be positive all the time because that doesn't work. You're just deluding yourself if you do that. You have to embrace the negatives that come in too. What is different about embracing the negatives is just not dwelling on them, just like you don't want to dwell on the positives either. You can't dwell on either one. You take life as it comes and you realize that something different will be around the corner. And so that's the cornerstone of this chapter, and perhaps one of the biggest cornerstones of this whole entire book, that there is no normal way to experience the world. There's no normal way to be as a person, and there just flat out is no such thing as normal. So there you have it. You're not a normal person. I'm not a normal person, and I'm so happy that neither one of us is. We are unique, we are special, and we contribute something everywhere that we go. When we go there, we're in that environment, we're in that space, we're changing the molecules around us, we're interacting with people that otherwise we wouldn't have interacted with, and then that causes a chain reaction. So you are very important in this world. You're just as important as the celebrities that you see out there. You're just as important as the most popular music artists. You are important, and the world will be different without you. And it was different without you. And you making a difference everywhere you go and everywhere you are. And I want you to know that. So anyway, I get very passionate and emotional about this chapter. We're done with this chapter. We're going to be moving into the final 2 chapters of this book. I really hope you've enjoyed this video series and the improving camera quality as I've gone along. I mean, this is my first YouTube series, so I think it's normal for things to kind of get better as they go. And I hope you've found that to be the case with this mental architecture show. So next time I'll be back with chapter 6, No Decisions. And this is an interesting chapter about free will. It's a topic that I think all of us wonder about, which is, do we have control over our own thoughts, or are we controlled by our thoughts and we don't have control over them? So that's kind of the big theme of this chapter coming up. Real fun one. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Mental Architecture, and please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below for more updates on my future videos, and click on ring the bell while you're at it so you can be notified when those videos come out. I also have an Instagram page, the Mental Architect, _mental_architect. Be sure to check that out too. And I look forward to talking to you guys next time. All right, stay safe, everybody. Take care.